He's very good at controlling his angles and controlling his speed.
And you could see the power in his arm just sort of lock and then load, and then that disc would just, like a cannon, just shoot back the other way and just go forever straight.
It seems like every putt in his prime was going into the basket.
Will is kind and generous and smart.
Will has the ability to really connect with a lot of people.
He loves to share his love of disc golf.
He's really someone I looked up to early on.
He's the best disc golfer I've ever seen.
Started playing disc golf end of 2005. I started playing with my dad and one of my best friends. We always played baseball and basketball growing up, and then I looked for something that was outside of those sports because going into middle school I didn't make the team for any of those, and I wanted to do something competitive and outdoors and something really fun that involves people and, competition.
Will started playing PDGA tournaments in 2006. He played over 30 tournaments that year, just a year after he started playing disc golf.
My high school actually allowed me to travel, and they excused the absences because I was a professional athlete. So I had a letter written in from the sponsors that I had at the time, and they actually excused the absences for me to be able to go to these tournaments.
Will played the Super 6 PDGA tournament in Georgia. He came close to winning amongst top players who would also compete in that year's USDGC. Will first noticed national attention in 2007 when he was the youngest person ever to compete at the USDGC at only 14 years old.
There's actually a little news article in the magazine that says Will Schustrick next disc golf prodigy in 2007, which was kind of funny. You're just kind of out there playing and enjoying disc golf at the time. It's not like you're doing anything for fame or doing anything because you're getting paid to do it. You're just out there because you want to play and you love disc golf.
Will went on a full-time tour in 2011 after winning the USDGC in the previous year and graduating from high school.
I went on tour full-time, and I was gone from wherever I did live at the time for about 6 or 7 months, just traveling full-time. I went overseas to Japan, I went to Europe twice, traveled around Europe for over a month straight, played a couple tournaments there. And then I think by April or May of 2011, I was the #1 ranked player in the world. And so that would be when really my game took it to the next level. And so obviously that's a lot of time and effort and dedication to be able to just do that right there. And so it was nice just to get the fulfillment of getting that #1 ranking.
The USDGC, or the United States Disc Golf Championship, is the biggest event in disc golf and is held in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
In 2013, I was kind of looked at as a favorite coming in to win the tournament, being that I won the Memorial, and I think I won Beaver State Fling that year. So it's a lot different than 2010, 2014, just looking at it from that standpoint.
Hole 17 at Winthrop Disc Golf Course is one of the most brutal holes in the entire world. Tournaments can be won or lost on this fateful hole. The tee is 250 feet from the target. The target is on an out-of-bound island. To land safe, you must throw the disc over the hay bales, but avoid throwing the disc too far into the water. Going into the round, Will was trailing the lead by 4 strokes, but had tied the leader by the time the group had reached hole 17.
And of course, 17 being a difficult shot, you really just want to play safe to the right. And I remember just kind of in the back of my head, just play safe. I'm tied for the lead. I know that I can attack it on 18, then attack it on 17 and really lose a lot. So I had a late release, hit a little branch high, didn't get to the island to be safe. So of course it's immediate re-tee, and then I do the same thing, and then I just get it way safe inbounds, and at that point of course I'm kind of out of it. I dropped from being tied for first to 8th, which was a really big drop. It just shows that nothing is really handed to you. Even though I have the momentum coming in and I'm kind of the favorite in 2013 to win the tournament, it's not really like given to you even on the hardest shots.
Johnny McRae was trailing the lead by 7 strokes after the first round, but had amassed his own lead of 4 strokes by the time the group had reached hole 17.
Get down. Get down. Go. Be enough. Be enough. Be enough. Go. Go. Okay. It doesn't matter. I still love you, Lord. I still love you.
Going into 17, because he was up by 6 or 5 or 6 at the time, so you don't really imagine somebody losing 6 strokes in 2 holes, although of course you know it can happen. Johnny was just playing so good going to that hole that, you know, you're just looking to get safe on 17, because that can really be a tournament destroy. I mean, you can destroy your whole tournament, as it did for Johnny. So going into that hole, you're not thinking like you still have a chance with 6 strokes. Like I wasn't thinking that there was a chance to win the USDGC at that point. And so I remember wanting to just keep it wide and keep it like a slow turn and let the disc do the work, besides just force it over and try to throw it over to the right. Of course, it's for the win, so you're thinking that the whole time. You're thinking, like, this is for the win. I mean, for 15 to 18 foot putt, whatever it was, I mean, you're looking straight up at the basket, and you have 1,000 people behind the basket, too, so definitely got a little nerve-wracking, but missed that, of course.
After 4 rounds of 18 regulation holes, there's a 3-way tie between Will Schustrick, Paul McBeth, and Johnny McRae. The format is sudden death, so the first to acquire the lowest score on the hole wins the USDGC. On the first playoff hole, Will is putting for birdie and the win.
It really was like a replay. You know, you go to that hole or that spot and you're putting uphill, and it's not an easy putt because you're putting so far uphill, and you have even more people behind the basket at this point because it's a playoff. And of course the same thing happens. I know in any playoff, you're always going to go to the next hole. It's not like you're keeping score. So the next hole, you always have another opportunity just to take home the win. So it was a lot easier for me to roll that off and move to the next hole, because I knew that if I just focus and give myself the opportunity, I'm still have a chance to win, because it doesn't have to do with score.
After the first playoff hole, Johnny is eliminated from contention. Will and Paul go to the second playoff hole, playing for the prestigious U.S. title.
The round before, I chained out for ace, dead center. And so I knew the way that the disc was going to fly. And I had thrown it so many times before that I felt just really confident the way it was flying on that hole. So I felt good going to that hole because I just could hit that shot every single time.
Paul McBeth entered the event at a rating of 1050, officially the highest rating of all time.
And, you know, of course, he's one of the best putters out there. So you're thinking that no matter where it is, you have to assume he's going to make it. And just knowing that, assuming that I'm going to make it too, being from 15 feet. So, of course, I'm not thinking he's going to miss the putt by any means. So, and he barely missed it kind of on the right-hand side. Yeah, after that happens, it's kind of like, oh boy, so you better make this putt. It's a whirlwind of of emotion at that point, because that's three U.S. titles, and something that I didn't consider going into that tournament. I would say that I went from being the highest rated or ranked, and I was kind of like 10, 15 or something along those lines. So there wasn't a lot of people that counted me in to win the tournament, even though I had won it 2 times before. Yeah, and I think it does, if I had to learn anything from it or tell people about it, then I would tell them that you don't ever listen to what somebody expects of you. You always want to expect the highest of you whenever you step on the disc golf course, whether or anything in sports or life, I guess. And even if somebody expects you not to do well, you still have to have the confidence that you are going to do well and you are there to win. Whether you're the top player in the world and everybody expects you to win, you still should have the self-expectation of being able to do really well.
Will was diagnosed with a shoulder impingement in 2016, stemming from repetitive use of his shoulder from playing disc golf.
It's much more of a longevity issue. Like, it doesn't just happen overnight, and it can happen from a lot of different reasons, whether you're doing one thing so many times or whatever it is, but it typically shows up from playing and putting so much consistent usage on your shoulder is kind of like the definition of it. I didn't want to play as much, honestly. I mean, whenever you're injured, you don't want to go out there and just play over and over and over again. I mean, it's kind of demoralizing, I guess a good word for it, because you don't like to not play well, especially when I was number 1 ranked, rated, winning USDGC, winning NTs, going out there and not coming close to barely cashing or not winning the smaller events. Like, it becomes demoralizing and kind of hard to deal with for a little bit. But I know that, of course, I love playing disc golf, and it's easy to get away from loving something or really loving to play if you drop down so far. And it's something like, did I love it because I was so good at it, or did I just love it because I like to play? And I got into it because I love to play, and then I kind of learned to love it because I was so good at it. And so I'm kind of mixing it a little bit more with how when I first got in with it. I love to play disc golf because I want to play disc golf, not necessarily because I'm just good at it all the time. I do think that I can get back to that level of being really good. The first step would be just to love playing it first.
Prodigy Disc launched in 2013, instantly becoming one of the premier disc golf companies.
So this new company that was coming out, their whole idea was paying players to throw their discs and promote their company, so obviously disc sales go up.
They signed the 12 top disc golfers in the world at the time, quickly helping them gain national attention.
You can imagine the amount of excitement that happened when those players announced they were changing over to this company that nobody had ever heard of before. Yeah, so I am the sales manager for Prodigy, which means that I kind of manage, we have 2-3 other sales guys, so I kind of help manage them and get more customers into our, of course, people who are selling our products, and then talk to the people who are selling our products and try to work with them, let them know of all the new releases. I help kind of schedule what we are doing and what we are releasing, when we are releasing it, and making sure we have the correct product information available. So videos, marketing, pictures, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, the goal with where I'm at now is to be able to make Prodigy as big as possible. And that, of course, is working with big box retailers, hopefully getting into some of those, being able to build disc golf worldwide. Like we did just open up a manufacturing facility overseas in China, which is our manufacturing facility. We're making discs there to better fulfill the Chinese market, which is going to be growing really, really fast, along with the Australian disc golf market, which is growing. And then we also have a whole group in Europe that is doing the same thing. So we're positioned globally to do some really big things for disc golf where it is growing the right way. And in the US, of course, it's the biggest market, so that's where we're looking to make the biggest impact. To say that I'm a 3-time U.S. champion, I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the entire world.
When you think of Nashville, you think of music. There aren't many people who know music better than Charles Judge, who's been in the music industry since the 1980s. Currently, he is working on an unreleased Keith Urban song.
You and came back up a brand new different guy, like I was baptized by the riverbank. Now I know one thing, no matter what life brings.
Although this is where he is now, his journey began much earlier.
Man, I wanted to get into music because it was fun, and my dad was a musician by hobby, and so there was always music being played in the house, and so it was a natural thing for me. And then I remember one year when I was about second or third grade, I started noticing all the girls were like really into music artists, and was, I love so and so, and I thought, how can I get some of that kind of attention? I know, I'll be a musician.
He has won many awards in his career, including multiple platinum records.
I started out, as a kid, I was really into rock music. So, the old classics, the Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, The Who, the Rolling Stones, all that kind of stuff is sort of what I cut my musical teeth on as a youngster. But then, I started becoming interested in other more sophisticated styles of music like jazz. And I went and got a degree in music. I got a degree in music composition and studied classical piano and arranging and electronic music, and it was a great education.
He attended college at the University of North Texas in Denton, and after he went to LA and played on pop and rock records for Stevie Nicks, Rod Stewart, Tracy Chapman, Chicago, and many others.
From there, I went to San Francisco and worked for a while at a company doing music for TV and commercials, where every day was a completely different style of music. I learned just tons of stuff from that experience. And then I made my way out to Nashville and back into Full-Time Records.
He has also been a part of many country songs, including songs by Carrie Underwood, Blake Shelton, Keith Urban, Miley Cyrus, and Tim McGraw.
My first Nashville recording session was so interesting to me. In a funny kind of way, I just assumed, having been trained in classical music and played jazz for a while and pop and rock, that when I came to Nashville and playing country music, it was going to be really simple. And I get to the first session, and I very quickly realized there was another keyboard player as well on that session. We played the first song, and it's the first time in the room with Nashville musicians recording, and it was like amazing. These guys, they just nailed it. One take, I didn't hear a flaw anywhere. And so I was like, wow, okay. I mean, this is a little different than what I was expecting. And then the producer said, okay, that's great. Let's go up a half step to F sharp. We're gonna have to take some time for everybody to figure out how to play us in this new key. Nope, you just counted off, played it. It was great as the first time, everything perfect.
At this recording session, he realized that great musicianship doesn't mean playing complicated music. Daily, as a musician, he does tracking music and overdubbing for artists.
And then the other thing that I do a lot is arranging for orchestra, strings or full orchestra, and a lot of times that's for records. And I do a lot of live orchestra shows with a company I have called Music City Hitmakers.
Two of the orchestral scores he has made have been for Carrie Underwood's triumphant performances and Blake Shelton's Not So Family Christmas.
My favorite part about my job is when you get to sit back and listen to it and take a victory lap, and everybody, listen to the song after you finish recording it, and it's just a great feeling to know that you've done something good that made good music better.
Chad Barker has been racing since he was 12 years old, but his love for the sport has been there for much longer. Chad started racing in 2016 when he earned his first win in a regional series early in his racing career.
Flag, hang on to it, hang on to it, hang on to it, hang on to it, yes!
Chad's racing career has not only impacted himself, but his entire family throughout the years. Chad has made many friends in his racing career, one of which is the Cordell family.
Barker family, I met them through racing at the fairgrounds in Highland Rim. Known them for about 2 years now.
Unfortunately, in August of 2019, Chad's car had a mechanical failure that caused him to hit the outside wall during practice, effectively destroying his car.
Despite his recent shortcomings, Chad Barker is hopeful for his future seasons and plans to be back in the track for 2020 season.
As of now, Chad is on track to get back to racing by his first race in March 2020.
Many locations such as the Bridgestone Arena, the Ryman, and the Country Music Hall of Fame represent what Music City is today. We interviewed Sonia, who works at Ernest Tubb Record Shop, to see why she thought Nashville was named Music City, USA.
I guess because of the large number of albums that have been recorded here over the years, but I don't know what first got people to start recording in Nashville.
We also asked Sonia who her favorite artist is and her favorite part of Nashville.
Chris Christopherson. Why? Because I love his songwriting, his lyrics, and while I don't think he has a great voice, nobody else can sing his songs like he can. Well, I grew up 100 miles from here, and I moved here a year out of college. Now I would say my favorite part is probably this area, but I didn't come down here for a whole lot of years until I came to work here 12 years ago. Nashville just has so much to offer. You know, I did graduate work at Vanderbilt a long time ago. I love the school, the state capitol. You know, to me, we're the heart of Tennessee.
The Bluebird Cafe is famous for having many artists perform there over the years. We interviewed Dennis Andres, who came to Nashville to chase his dream.
I came to Nashville because this is a place to be. All the songwriters are here, all the musicians, all the music, and it's just a great place to be for musicians, and a good place to grow, a good place to like learn the industry, and I love it. I got a bunch. To pick one favorite artist is pretty hard for me, but I really like Chris Stapleton because he's kind of like he's written for everyone, and he's got a crazy voice. His vocals are just insane. And I see the Bluebird like all over like social media. I mean, even because I came from Florida, so I just see it everywhere. But other artists I like is Brantley Gilbert, Ashley McBride, Tim McGraw. I mean, there's just too many to name.
The Hard Rock Cafe is where many tourists come to eat and see many artist outfits for their tours. There are many recording studios where artists come to start their journey. There are so many landmarks that make Music City unique.
Yeah, well, how it started was I was playing Minecraft at 2:30 a.m. with a kid that I met online who was stationed at a military base in Alaska, and all he could talk about was lettuce for some reason. I said, dude, there's this classic photo of a college lettuce club where they just show up and eat lettuce. And then he said, dude, you should do that at your high school. I said, yeah, bet, and then we did.
And he said he had this really cool idea that we make a club in which we eat lettuce and have a competition on who eats lettuce first wins, and then they get to be the head. The head of lettuce doesn't do anything. They have no political power. They just are the head. And that's what we did.
Well, we're just a group of friends and pals chomping down on some iceberg lettuce. There was going to be a competition phase at first, but we kind of thought that was just a little unnecessary. So we just wanted to really enhance the social aspect of Lettuce Club a little bit more, you know, just great community just to hang out with your friends, you know, let us be the ones who help you grow relationships between your friends.
I feel like Lettuce Club to me is something very simple. Yeah, you are able to draw so much ambiguity out of the idea. Sophistication of lettuce.
It's also kind of fun because like everyone comes, like all my old friends and new friends. It's just kind of like a group meeting, like a family reunion of sorts, but friends. Yeah. Lettuce is like a side thought, if I'm being completely honest. It's about the people.
To be honest, at the time, we thought of ourselves as just the biggest underdog story, because we would walk around school in a single file line trying to just find teachers, not even Kydell, but just sponsors that would, let us in. We went to Coach Popovich. We went to, we went to all of them, you know. Well, actually, I talk about Coach Pop. He wasn't in his room whenever we went by, and we went by his room several times. But finally, Mr. Adams came around, and I think that Mr. Adams is pretty good friends with Mr. Kydell, so I feel like that might have kind of played into it. But the thing is, with Lettuce Club, you know, there's no fine line. We are just that. We are just a club about lettuce. And I feel like, you know, there's nothing really bad going on. Why not? Why not us, you know?
I saw them marching down the hallway one day saying, we're going to Mr. Adams' room and we're going to start Lettuce Club.
That's fun.
I wanted to come, but I had to go heat up my food, I think.
Lettuce Club is a one-off joke that I'm going to put on a college resume under the exact words, I began a horticulture-based society at my high school that gained major traction in the early days and then died down soon after.
Good question. My friends and I really respectively would like to tell you it's a very spiritual meaning. You know, like inside of us there's a head of iceberg lettuce, and you know that's how we get our emotions from this just lettuce part of ourselves. But really we just saw a meme about a lettuce club at a local college, and we thought it was pretty funny, so we really wanted to make one of our own.
I don't know why we picked lettuce, but I think it was also because we saw this college in like North Dakota do it.
I mean, lettuce is a really healthy thing, you know, and it's great for your digestion. You know, eating a full head of lettuce might not be the best thing. You know, this guy who ate 3, I feel like he didn't have a fun time afterwards, but it's a very healthy vegetable.
I don't know, man. It's cheap. It's kind of hard to say you don't like iceberg lettuce. It's crunchy water. No one's really allergic to it.
It's easy to eat. You have lettuce like on a lot of stuff, like burgers and
it's water.
Salad.
It's just
I like
water
the
with
word.
extra steps.
I mean, I guess lettuce, because like, if you want to think of it in the way that it's not meant at all, it keeps you together because all the layers of lettuce of the different people, they all come together at the base. And you never eat it at the base because that's what tastes bad.
That's deep.
Yeah. You eat it at the surface. And by eating it at the surface, you're taking a bite out of every single person at once because they're all layers.
You shouldn't eat people.
We definitely knew that there would be some people who were just like, okay, what on earth is going on here? There's a club about lettuce now. In fact, I still have that same thought to this day, like, what were we thinking? I have no regrets, obviously, but it still makes me laugh that idea, you know, gained prominence. But I totally understand some of the reactions, and we love how we kind of just were so out there and outrageous. We just kind of burst into the Brentwood High School mainstream pretty fast.
We thought it would be like a meme for a bit, and that we'd maybe get 7 people at the first meeting, and that there would only be like one meeting. Then like 45 people just showed up, and so we just kept it going. The reception was overwhelmingly positive, which I don't think anyone expected, considering all we did was go into Mr. Adams' room and eat lettuce. And that was it.
Initially, you know, I was like, funny posters, Minecraft memes, oh, funny, I like lettuce. And then I was like, oh, wow, there's actually like a thing. I didn't realize this was real, you know?
Yeah. You can see that we spend our time very wisely here.
Mm-hmm.
This is great.
I thought this was gonna be like a legit thing when I first heard about it.
Lettuce club?
Yeah.
What made?
I don't know the way Cyrus described it, but I don't really think it is actually.
Lettuce Club is not a threat to society, and yet we live in one. I think Lettuce Club is heavily needed for children to eat healthy food and become hydrated from the liquids in lettuce. Lettuce Club is great because people get to come together for their love of lettuce, and they get to have fun.
Yeah. And I think like as soon as I heard about it, I was like, I have to go to this. I'm putting this on my college resume, on all of my job applications. I will never forget this. I mean, I will, but I won't.
Like, of course I wanted people to join, but like it's kind of like kept going. No offense to those of you who are still in the club. I love you. However, I'd rather go to German club on Wednesdays. It's a good time, but
Even had talks with other lettuce clubs, such as Franklin Lettuce Club. My friend Max and I actually went out and had Olive Garden with them one night. It was a great time.
I didn't get to go.
And the Ravenwood Lettuce Club, which sadly went extinct after people thought lettuce was, marijuana. So.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's a horrible thing, because we would never support that sort of horrible thing. Hence why the name Devil's Lettuce. And we only believe in the people's lettuce, which is actual iceberg lettuce.
That's one of the biggest reasons for me, and I feel like some of the other people, and one of our biggest demographics are those that are in marching band. And marching band, you know, we're out there all the time. We really just, whenever marching season's in, that's all we really have time for. It's hard to like, you know, get hours for a job you need, maybe even do homework that you need to do, and you really just can't join any other clubs except for maybe Model UN. So for me, Lettuce Club is a great little side little job that I could kind of work on and, you know, really make grow.
Or yeah, like people that are in theater but hang out with band kids, or other people that don't hang out with band kids or do hang out with band kids but aren't in band. I mean, we're not all bad. There are some that are worse than others.
Really, we just wanted to see what it would be like, because, you know, like, you always have these like Miss America pageants and these Miss Tennessee or Miss Bluegrass or all these little country beauty pageants, but I feel like, you know, the boys never really got their beauty pageant, and so we decided we'd have a Mr. Lettuce beauty pageant.
That was the greatest thing to have ever happened on Earth.
And I think that if I were not there, I would have seriously not been the person I am today. It was life-changing, revolutionary.
We expected a lot more people than we got, and I think it would have been a lot better and a lot funnier if we had more people, but we ended up with like 12 people in total, including the competitors. So it didn't go very well. It was just kind of a chaotic hour of no one knowing what was going on.
Well, obviously we really blew up at the time where we announced it, you know, like that's when everybody wanted a ticket, you know, like we were right on the scene. So obviously, you know, membership has kind of declined, but you know what, that doesn't mean that we're still not having fun. We still have our fan base, we still have our loyal members who come and hang out last Wednesday of every month. So we really don't see it as declining. We really just see it as a steady place.
I think it's definitely on a decline, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't support it. I don't support it gaining followers. Like, I made it, but I don't like the monster it has become.
Lettuce Club is on a decline in the way that late night television is on a decline. There are a few surviving people, but for the most part, it is a dead format.
But it's definitely on the decline. I don't know if it's either on a decline because of the actual purpose of Lettuce Club, or if it's just that it's been since before Christmas that we last had a meeting.
I think it's dead, honestly. I mean, it's okay. Like, I still want to come here and eat lettuce, like, every time I can, because lettuce.
I mean, you know, I've heard from everybody that's not been fun, you know, because it's declining, and that it's probably not a good time to join, but you know what? I don't care. It's great, you know, we've had fun. It's just been a good time.
I personally haven't been able to go to any of the meetings. It sounds like a lot of fun, and like Lettuce Club, it's a hilarious concept, and you know, like I feel like Lettuce Club kind of spawned a bunch of like more outrageous clubs, you know. Whenever Lettuce Club was announced, you had like the Keanu Reeves Club, and then, you know, the Rice Society Club and other clubs like that. There was a meme club at Brentwood High School a few years back, and then it kind of died out, but I feel like, I could be totally wrong by saying this, but I feel like Lettuce Club kind of helped bring that kind of club back.
So, you know, Rice Society started up, you know, I was like, oh yeah, they're doing it because Lettuce Club, you know, and, you know, truthfully, they were, you know, and, you know, I had some people in like my math class sitting here like, yeah, we kind of just started Rice Society because we hate Lettuce Club. And you know what? It worked out.
I think Rice Society is an interesting idea, and while yes, technically they had more members than us, you also do have to consider the fact that they are during school and provide the food.
Well, I will say I do think they kind of like saw like where we were going and kind of like turned that idea into their own, but other than that, I really don't have a problem with it. Sure, I feel like there was some, I don't even want to call it foul play. It's not foul play. I want to say that there was like some inspiration going on there, but you know, I feel like I don't really have any bad feelings towards it.
Well, me and the CEO...
I think I should die. They stole our idea.
They didn't. Sit down, please.
Who likes rice?
I do. It's good.
I'm...
Well, I made an agreement with the CEO of Rice Society. Like, it was like right after they announced it, and I was going into, I think it was German Club, and he was like, yo, did you make Lettuce Club? And I said, yeah, I did. It was a good, yeah, that's what it is. And he was like, well, I made Rice Society. And he said, well, I know there's been a lot of rivalry between the clubs recently and things like that. And I said, yeah, I agree. And I said, well, I believe that this should stop because I like rice. And he said, well, I like lettuce. It's probably the best vegetable outside of rice. And I said, yeah. But I think lettuce is actually a better vegetable still. But, I mean, I like rice. So I thought Rice Society and Lettuce Club would be able to get along, but it didn't seem to turn out that way.
I do know that I've kind of like, whenever I made the speech at the first Lettuce Club meeting, the Let Us speech, that was the most photographed and videoed moment of Lettuce Club so far. So I can definitely see where people would see me as the face, but really it's all a team effort. I'm not the one who's organizing the meeting, so I have my friends Carter, Cash, Max, Andy, Logan, Steven. There are a ton of us who really just work to make sure that this thing can stick, and really, it's not all me. I really try to steer the attention away from myself, but I can see where people would kind of see me in that light.
Good. All right, by the time this speech is over, you will be incredibly moved, and you'll have also heard the worst pun in the history of mankind.
Woo! Yeah!
A horse walks into a bar. Great start. He goes to the table, and the bartender says, "Why the long face?" The horse responds, Say it. The horse responds, "My son broke his leg and I can't afford the medical bills." I can guarantee that most or all of you thought I was going to tell a hilarious and excellent dad joke.
Yeah.
But instead I gave you a heartbreaking story about a horse with severe family and financial issues. Life is like that sometimes. We go into opportunities thinking we're golden and that we have everything under control. Then life slaps us in the face with reality. You get the feeling, am I really worth it? Am I going to be okay? Whether it's something small like that essay you procrastinated or something big like not being able to pay the bills.
What do you mean it's small?
Life is never going to stop throwing us these obstacles. And you know what? It's not going to stop. Life is unforgiving. It will throw boulders, trees, and whatever else at you until you have nowhere else to go. But you can't let these obstacles get the best of you. We can never let them win. This is a battle you can't find alone. You need a community. You need someone to fall back on. We are that community. Don't let life's hurdles trip you up. Don't let them bring you down. Don't let them stop you in your tracks. Instead, let us help you. Let us be there. Let us be the ones that keep you going. Let us. Thank you.
Lettuce Club, it's a funny concept to me. It is just an idea, you know, that you can really do anything if you put your mind to it. Like, seriously, this thing was not supposed to take off, but we had the people that we needed. We had the people that were vouching for us. We had our own ambitions with it, and we had a really awesome sponsor who has been putting up with this for the last 3 meetings. So it's, like I said, it's really all a team effort. This is, to me, Lettuce Club is just an embodiment of a community working towards a goal. So I feel like it's pretty cool.
Don't. It's not worth it. Go home, play video games, do something else. Don't do Lettuce Club. Thank you.
Brentwood High is known for their sports teams, but in the future they might be known for their robotics club team as well.
This is our first year hosting tournaments here in Williamson County for high schoolers and our 3rd year hosting tournaments for middle school.
This robotics club tournament is hosted by Brentwood High School and directed by Tina Finley.
I am the instructional technology coach for Williamson County Robotics, and so I'm serving as the event partner or the director of this event.
Williamson County has been no stranger to robotics clubs before, with the middle schools having had teams for a few years now. But this year, the number of tournaments have increased, and this is the first year Williamson County Schools hosted a tournament. 39 teams have come to the Brentwood High Gym to compete.
Up until this year, we only had middle school tournaments, so we had 2 middle school tournaments before this, and then this year we have 3 middle school and high school tournaments this year.
While Brentwood hasn't had much success in the tournaments, this year was different. Aiden Wise, Himesh Patel, Manan Goel, and Angie Dye won first place at the regional tournament in January, qualifying for the state tournament next month. Williamson County has been well represented in recent years.
Yes, Grassland Middle Schools had teams that have won both at state, or won regional qualifiers and state, and got to participate in Worlds.
The state tournament is March 7th at Brentwood Academy. Ryan Ballrup, WBHS 9.
5-2 Brentwood. The perfect season intact. And we're going to have a penalty right at the end of the game on Nathan Trzaskowski as that's it. The Brentwood Bruins are Predators Cup champions for 2011. They pile on Tanner Elmore. And Ravenwood surrenders both their championships.
Biggest one is that it's not like your club teams. It's not like where you have 1 age group or 2 age groups. You've got 4 age groups, and you've got to deal with the young guys coming in and try and get them to buy into your system you've been doing the whole time, which we've done pretty well lately with the 2 state championships. So pretty happy with it, but it is difficult. Every team is a different team. You drop some games, play some games really well, and you think you're going well, and then things don't go well. So it's just constantly trying to reinforce the good stuff, especially when you got a group of the senior class, the junior class, and the sophomore class that have all won 2 in a row. So they know what it takes, they know how to get there, and they know there's bumps in the road and everything's not going to be perfect. We've got to defend better, and we've got to protect our goaltender better. And if we do that, I think we've proven we can beat any team in this league. We just have to get on a run.
The last 2 years aren't the only years Brentwood has been successful. Not only has the team won 5 state championships overall, but they've also turned out some really successful players.
We got Hunter Wilhoit. He's at UMass Portsmouth, which is D3. But we've had a couple other. We've had a goalie go and play D3 hockey in Minnesota. We've had a ton of players playing junior. Almost every year we have players leave their senior year. I usually lose my seniors because they're playing junior hockey. So it's a pretty good pipeline.
Coach Orem and the other coaches aren't the only ones who influence and guide the team. Team captain Harris Smith has been playing since he was little, and his passion for the sport and leadership have done nothing but grow.
I really enjoyed playing. Didn't matter where it was, whether it was in the street or on the ice. Just really loved the hockey. It's been unreal. Like every single day I'm practicing like right after school, and then I got off ice, and and then I got high school on top of that. So that's 2 games a week after my practices, and I don't even know how many travel weekends there are a year, but then I got 4 other games in the weeks.
Harris is very hardworking and dedicated to all the teams he plays for. As the team captain, Harris has many roles and responsibilities.
I gotta teach them and take care of them. Don't let them mess around or kill each other. It's gonna take a group effort. It's gonna take the whole team. We're gonna have to play offense and defense, and just not let off the gas, really.
The Bruins advanced to the state championship and played NBA. The tournament is double elimination, so that means NBA has to beat Brentwood twice. Big Red came out and crushed the Bruins in the first game 9-1. But in the finals, Brentwood came in much more focused and ready to play lights out, and that's exactly what they did. They pulled off the three-peat with a 2-1 win. This is the first ever three-peat for Tennessee high school hockey history. The Bruins are only losing 2 seniors this season, so there's a possibility for a 4th.
Serenity Falls Barn is a family-owned barn. All the horses belong to the people that take lessons there. All of these workers are dedicated and love what they do. The people that take lessons there trust them to look after their horses like family.
horses and everything that came with it. And that's what we've been doing ever since. And then in May of this year, we just started boarding horses, and it's actually grown tremendously. We now have a full barn of people that come and share their love of riding horses just like we do.
The daily routine of the maintenance of the horses go from feeding them to cleaning up their stalls, brushing their hair, making sure they are clean. This barn is different from any other barn because it is a family-owned barn, and they take their time with each client and are basically like family because they are smaller. Not like it would be in a big business barn where they don't take the time to know the people.
We don't clock in or out. You know, our day starts with coming down, feeding, watering, haying, cleaning stalls, taking care of the horses. We don't really leave, you know. We're here all the time. We can make sure that they're healthy, and if somebody gets sick or if they need anything, we're right here. And we're also one big family. As whereas a lot of the barns you go to, you know, you might walk through and not see anybody, because our presence is always here. It's, you know, we're always here for anybody that needs anything, and we like to hang out with everybody too. It's not a job. I mean, we love it. It's our life, and we thoroughly enjoy it.
They train their horses and practice with them to become award-winning. Most horseback riders practice twice a week. They have all types and sizes of horses to fit the person, big ones and taller ones, and they also have smaller ones and shorter ones. The farrier also is a major part of the farm. He takes care of the horse's feet. He takes care of the horse's feet by filing down the horse's hooves so the shoes for working stay on. This is an equestrian rider. She's putting iodine on the horse's hooves. This helps heal their hoof if damaged, and they keep it on for a few days. These hardworking people are like family and treat each other like it.
Hey, son!
Huh?
Do the dishes!
Right now?
I don't care what you're doing. Get downstairs right now and get to work.
Are you serious? Huh? The dishes are already done. Well, I get more computer time. Well, that's good.